At an exclusive neighborhood pool, a black man is told to leave by a woman convinced he doesn't belong. She calls security, confident she's protecting the community, until the truth leaves her speechless. What she didn't know? The man she tried to humiliate is actually the mayor of the town. What happens next is a powerful lesson in respect, identity, and the danger of judging by appearances. It was a warm summer afternoon in the upscale residential enclave of Les Jardins de Saint-Cloud, just a stone's throw from the bustling heart of Paris. The sun hung lazily in the sky, casting golden ripples across the community pool where families lounged, children splashed, and the hum of light conversation filled the air. Les Jardins was a haven for the affluent. Manicured lawns, sleek modern villas, and a sense of exclusivity that its residents wore like a badge of honor. But beneath the polished surface, tensions simmered, as they often do when privilege meets assumption. Pamela Thornton, a recent transplant from London, strutted toward the poolside with the confidence of someone who believed she owned the place. Her platinum blonde hair gleamed in the sunlight, and her designer sunglasses perched atop her head like a crown. She'd moved into Les Jardins just 3 months ago, drawn by its prestige and the promise of a fresh start after a messy divorce. But Pamela had already made a name for herself, not for her charm, but for her knack for stirring trouble. She'd complained about the neighbors' dogs, the gardener's noise, and even the unacceptable shade of blue on the community mailbox. Today, though, she had a new target. Desmond Carter sat on a lounge chair by the pool, a book in hand and a glass of iced tea sweating beside him. His dark skin glistened faintly with sunscreen, and his relaxed posture suggested a man at ease in his surroundings. Desmond was no stranger to Les Jardins. He'd lived here for over a decade, raising his 2 daughters with his wife, Elise, in a sprawling villa just up the hill. More than that, he was the mayor of Saint-Cloud, a respected figure who'd fought tooth and nail to greenlight the development of this very community. His quiet authority and warm demeanor had earned him the admiration of most residents. Most, but not all. Pamela's sharp voice cut through the lazy afternoon like a knife. "Excuse me," she said, planting herself in front of Desmond, hands on her hips. "This pool is for residents only. I don't recall seeing you around here before, and I'm not about to let just anyone waltz in and ruin our afternoon." The chatter around the pool faltered. Heads turned. A few kids stopped splashing, sensing the shift in the air. Desmond lowered his book slowly, his brown eyes meeting Pamela's with a calm that only seemed to fuel her indignation. "I'm sorry," he said, his tone measured but firm, "but I think there's been a misunderstanding. I live here. Have for years." Pamela scoffed, her lips curling into a smirk. "Oh, please. I know everyone in Les Jardins, and I'd remember you. Don't try to pull that with me. I'm calling security." She whipped out her phone, dialing with a flourish, her voice loud enough for the entire poolside to hear. "Yes, hello, this is Pamela Thornton in Villa 12. There's an intruder at the pool. You need to get here now." Desmond didn't flinch. He set his book down, crossed his arms, and waited. A few residents exchanged uneasy glances. Some recognized him, others didn't, but no one spoke up. The air grew thick with anticipation as Pamela stood triumphant, convinced she'd caught an interloper red-handed. Within minutes, 2 security guards arrived, their navy uniforms crisp against the summer haze. The taller one, a burly man named Julien, scanned the scene and froze when his eyes landed on Desmond. His partner, a younger woman named Claire, followed suit, her expression shifting from confusion to recognition. "Monsieur Carter?" Julien said, his voice tinged with disbelief. "Is there a problem here?" Pamela's smirk faltered. "What? No, you've got it wrong. This man doesn't belong here. He's trespassing." Julien raised an eyebrow, then turned to Desmond. "Monsieur le Maire, is everything all right?" The words hit Pamela like a slap. Monsieur le Maire. Mayor. Her mouth opened, then closed as the realization sank in. The man she'd accused wasn't just a resident. He was the mayor of St. Cloud, a pillar of the community, and the very person who'd made Les Jardins possible. The poolside erupted into whispers, and Pamela's face flushed a deep crimson. I didn't know, she stammered, clutching her phone like a lifeline. I just assumed. You assumed, Desmond interrupted, his voice steady but carrying an edge that silenced her. You saw me, and you assumed I didn't belong. Why is that exactly? The question hung in the air, heavy and unanswerable. Pamela's eyes darted around, searching for an escape, but the weight of dozens of stairs pinned her in place. The guards shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to intervene. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Desmond stood, his 6-foot frame towering over Pamela without effort. I've lived here longer than you've known this place existed, he said. I've raised my family here, paid my dues here, and fought for this community when others wanted it torn down. Next time, maybe ask a question before you call the cavalry. He turned to leave, but not before adding, Enjoy the pool, Madam Thornton. It's a beautiful day for it. As Desmond walked away, the crowd parted silently, some nodding in quiet respect, others avoiding his gaze. Pamela stood frozen, her arrogance crumbling into a pile of humiliation. But this was only the beginning. What happened next would ripple through Les Jardins, forcing its residents, and Pamela herself, to confront truths they'd long preferred to ignore. The incident at the pool didn't fade into the summer haze as Pamela had hoped. By evening, whispers had turned into full-blown conversations, spreading through Les Jardins like wildfire. At the sleek marble countertops of Villa 7, Madame Leclerc, a retired art dealer with a penchant for gossip, recounted the story to her book club. Down the street, Monsieur Dubois, a tech entrepreneur, debated it over dinner with his wife. Some residents sided with Pamela. She's new, she didn't know, while others saw it as a glaring symptom of something uglier. Desmond Carter, meanwhile, returned home to his wife, Elise, and their 2 daughters, Amara and Sophie, who were blissfully unaware of the afternoon's drama. Elise, a soft-spoken pediatrician with a steel backbone, noticed the tension in Desmond's shoulders as he sank into the sofa. "Rough day at the pool?" she asked, handing him a glass of wine. He chuckled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You could say that. New neighbor decided I was crashing the party." Elise's brow furrowed as he recounted the encounter. She'd heard this tune before. Different lyrics, same melody. Desmond had faced skepticism at town halls, sideways glances at fundraisers, even questions about his credentials despite his impeccable record. Being the first black mayor of St. Cloud came with a spotlight he hadn't asked for, but he'd always handled it with grace. This time, though, felt personal. "She didn't even ask," he said, staring into his glass. "Just saw me and decided I didn't fit." Elise squeezed his hand. "You fit here more than anyone. Let her stew in it. She'll learn." But Pamela wasn't stewing, at least not quietly. Back at Villa 12, she paced her pristine living room, the humiliation gnawing at her. She'd moved to Les Jardins to escape judgment, not invite it. The divorce had left her raw, her ex-husband's infidelity a public scandal that still stung. She'd wanted control, a fresh slate, and now she'd made herself the villain of the neighborhood. Worse, she couldn't shake Desmond's question. Why is that exactly? It echoed in her mind, unbidden and uncomfortable. The next morning, Les Jardins buzzed with a new development. Someone, nobody knew who, had posted a grainy cell phone video of the pool confrontation on X, tagging it with #LesJardinsDrama and #KnowYourNeighbors. The clip was short but damning. Pamela's shrill accusations, Desmond's calm rebuttal, the guard's awkward arrival. By noon, it had thousands of views, with comments ranging from typical entitlement to "he handled that like a king." Desmond's office phone began ringing off the hook. Reporters, constituents, even a few old friends from university checking in. Pamela, meanwhile, saw the video on her own feed and felt her stomach drop. She wanted to disappear, but pride wouldn't let her. Instead, she doubled down, posting a terse defense. A simple mistake anyone could make. I was protecting our community. Let's move on. It backfired spectacularly. Replies flooded in, some civil, others scathing, and the hashtag Pamela Thornton trended locally by dusk. Desmond watched it unfold from his office in the Mairie, a modest building overlooking St. Cloud's cobblestone streets. He didn't relish the attention. Publicity like this rarely ended well, but he couldn't ignore it either. His chief of staff, a wiry young man named Luc, urged him to respond. People are rallying behind you, monsieur. Say something. Turn it into a moment. Desmond hesitated. He'd built his career on action, not grandstanding. But Luc was right. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was about Amara and Sophie, about every kid who'd ever been made to feel like an outsider in their own home. So, that evening he posted a simple message on X. Les Jardins is for all of us. Let's build it together, not tear it apart. Merci. Short, direct, and unmistakably Desmond. The response was overwhelming. Residents retweeted it. Strangers praised it. And a few even left flowers outside his villa. But not everyone was ready to let it go. Pamela, stewing in her isolation, saw the post as a personal jab. She didn't know how to fix this, or if she even wanted to. What she did know was that Desmond Carter had turned her mistake into his triumph, and that burned. The following Saturday, Les Jardins held its annual summer fete, a tradition Desmond had championed years ago. The community green transformed into a carnival of sorts, string lights twinkling, tables laden with croissants and rosé, a jazz trio playing softly in the background. It was meant to be a celebration, but this year, it felt like a stage. Desmond arrived with Elise and the girls, who darted off to join a game of pétanque with their friends. He mingled effortlessly, shaking hands and trading laughs, but his eyes kept scanning the crowd. He wasn't looking for Pamela. He didn't need to, but he knew she'd be there. Sure enough, she appeared near the dessert table, her chin high despite the whispers that followed her. The tension was palpable, a silent dare hanging between them. Residents watched, some hoping for peace, others for fireworks. It was Elise who broke the stalemate, nudging Desmond toward Pamela with a quiet, "She's not the enemy. Not yet." Reluctantly, he approached. Pamela stiffened as he neared, clutching a glass of wine like a shield. "Madame Thornton," he said, nodding politely. "Enjoying the fete?" Her lips tightened. "I suppose. Though I'm sure you're enjoying it more, Monsieur le Maire." The jab landed, but Desmond didn't flinch. "It's a good day for everyone. No reason it can't be for you, too." She laughed, sharp and brittle. "Oh, spare me the platitudes. You've made me the laughingstock of this place. Congratulations." "I didn't post that video," he said evenly, "and I didn't ask for this fight. You started it, Pamela. I'm just trying to finish it right." Her eyes flashed, but before she could retort, a voice interrupted. Madame Leclerc, the gossip queen, tottering over with a tray of macarons. "Oh, Monsieur Carter, Madame Thornton, you must try these, baked fresh this morning. Let's not have any sour faces tonight, The interruption was absurdly timed, but it worked. Pamela's anger deflated slightly, and Desmond took the chance to step back. "Enjoy the macarons," he said, and walked away. But the night wasn't done with them. As the jazz trio struck up a slower tune, a group of kids, Amara and Sophie among them, ran up to Desmond, begging him to dance. He obliged, twirling them under the lights to cheers from the crowd. Pamela watched from the sidelines, her expression unreadable. For a moment, she saw not the mayor or the man she'd accused, but a father, someone human, not a symbol. It rattled her. She slipped away early, the music fading behind her as she wrestled with a question she couldn't shake. Had she been wrong, not just about Desmond, but about herself? The next week brought an unexpected twist. Pamela, still reeling from the fate, found a note slipped under her door. It was handwritten, simple. Coffee? Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Café Lumière. D. Carter. No explanation, no demands, just an invitation. She almost didn't go. Pride screamed at her to toss it. But curiosity, and maybe something softer, won out. At Café Lumière, a quaint spot overlooking the Seine, Desmond waited at an outdoor table, 2 espressos already ordered. He didn't smile when she sat, but he didn't scowl either. "Why?" she asked, skipping pleasantries. "After everything, why this?" "Because I've been where you are," he said. Not the same way, but close. Angry, cornered, lashing out. "I figured you might want a way back." She stared at him, incredulous. "You think I need saving?" "No. I think you need a mirror. We all do sometimes." The words stung, but they stuck. Over the next hour, they talked, not as adversaries, but as people. Desmond spoke of growing up in London's tougher corners, moving to France for a better life, facing doors slammed shut because of his skin. Pamela haltingly admitted her own scars, the divorce, the fear of being invisible, the need to control something, anything. It wasn't an apology, not yet, but it was a crack in the wall. When they parted, Desmond left her with a thought. Les Jardins isn't perfect. Neither are we. But it's home. What you do next is up to you. Days later, Pamela showed up at the community center, where Desmond was hosting a town hall. She didn't speak, just listened as he outlined plans for a youth program, mentorship, sports, a space for kids like Amara and Sophie to thrive. Afterward, she lingered, then approached him. "I could help," she said, voice low. "Fundraising, maybe. I'm good at that." He studied her, then nodded. "We'd appreciate it." It wasn't a grand redemption, no tearful reconciliation for the cameras. But it was a start. A fragile, human one. The video faded from X, replaced by newer scandals, and Les Jardins settled back into its rhythm. Pamela joined the youth program committee, her sharp edges softening with time. Desmond kept leading, his quiet strength a steady pulse. Years later, a new family moved into Les Jardins, a young couple mixed like Desmond and Elise, with a toddler in tow. On their first day, Pamela stopped by with a basket of macarons and a smile that wasn't forced. "Welcome," she said. "You'll like it here." And somewhere, Desmond watched, wondering if the cycle could break. Not everywhere, not all at once, but maybe, just maybe, in one small corner of the world.